If there's one thing Mike Tyson and Salvador Sanchez have in common, it's that they both represented imposing rivals for anyone daring to challenge them in the ring. Watch us until the end to remember some of the best moments of two figures who, to this day, are already legends. It was January 16, 1999, and everyone was wondering if the Great Iron Mike still had the same power in the ring that catapulted him to the top at such a young age. Francois Botha, 30 years old, held a record of 39 victories, with 24 by knockout and 1 defeat. Tyson's record, on the other hand, was 45 victories, with 39 of them by knockout and 3 losses. His undefeated years were long gone. From the beginning of the first round, both fighters could be seen fighting up close. Tyson, recalling his glory years, threw powerful hooks but couldn't land any on Botha's body.
Jab, you're right. And he hasn't done it. He hasn't done it past the jab.
Very patient.
It was at the end of this first round that the entire arena was shocked. After the bell that marked the end had sounded, Tyson and Botha were still clinging to each other, and the referee was unable to separate them. The security personnel had to step into the ring. Thanks to the camera, the referee was able to confirm that Tyson had cowardly attempted to break Botha's arm with a move that was not allowed. After the commotion, the fight resumed, but Tyson suffered a penalty on the judges' scorecards. It was obvious that the fight had become personal, as the referee was seen reminding Tyson of the rules more than once from that moment on. The legend was tarnishing his legacy with the irregular actions of that night. The conclusion of the fight came in the 5th round when Tyson managed to land the hook that knocked out a tired and low-guarded Botha.
Now again.
But Tyson just showing no speed.
Punches.
Down goes Botha.
Ironically, he tried to help him get up, but nothing would amend that cowardly act at the end of the first round. But great encounters were not invented in 1999, and Tyson was not the protagonist. For the next clip, we need to go back to February 1980 and let Tyson yield his spot to Salvador Sanchez, defeating Danny Lopez. From the first round, Salvador Sanchez was showcasing his punching record. The same record that, at the time, had given him 33 victories, 1 draw, and only 1 defeat, which many considered undeserved.
Coliseo Memorial in Phoenix, Arizona.
Although Danny El Coloradito Lopez tried to keep up, Salvador Sanchez was much more precise. As the rounds progressed, it was only evident who the favorite was to win. 12,000 people were present that night at the Coliseum where the fight was taking place, and it's fair to say that by the 4th round, everyone was on edge. By that time, Salvador had already started to land significant combinations of punches on Danny, especially on his face, leaving evidence of the Mexican's punching power, especially on his face. That's how the rounds passed, and Salvador ensured he earned points on the judges' scorecards. A true boxing spectacle was called the fight in the 9th round, as everyone was already anticipating the outcome of the match.
Vuelve a conectar la derecha y vuelve a meter 2, 3 golpes sobre el mexicano. Izquierda 1 y 2 y en 3.
El Coloradito Danny couldn't win a single round against Salvador, and they entered the 13th round. However, the conclusion would not come until the 13th round.
A la cuadra de un hombre que lo vio crecer como lo fue don Agustín Palacios.
The referee, after witnessing the brutality of the attack Salvador was subjecting Danny to, decided to stop the fight. Lopez had entered the ring as a champion, but he had to leave resigned to the loss of his title. Many say you should let sleeping dogs lie, but Danny Lopez had something to prove to himself. And that's how the second fight between him and Salvador Sanchez came about. In his mind, he was trying to prove if it had been just a stroke of luck. But Salvador was clear that he had to prove that that night in February 1980 had been the best due to his skills in the ring. From the beginning of the fight, the battle was lively. Neither of them were fighters to go for the body to win time or to run away for a long time, which made the punches rain continuously from round one.
Body movement. Good. There's a right.
However, it was evident that Salvador's skills were prevailing over Danny's. Danny, round after round, only got deeper into a huge problem he had brought upon himself.
Lopez is noted to be a slow starter, and he just caught a crisp punch, and now a little left hook. With his back to us, look.
Danny Lopez had every intention of repeating history, to enter as a challenger and leave with the victory. So he took any small opportunity he had to connect powerful combinations of punches to Salvador. At times, it seemed like he really had a chance to win the rematch, but Salvador was just waiting for the right moment to deliver the blow that would end the fight. The conclusion of the fight came in the 14th round. By that time, Danny's energy had run out, and his guard was low. Salvador, with an execution as clean as if he were fighting a punching bag, managed to land a combination of punches directly to Lopez's face. And the referee had to intervene to give Salvador the victory once again. Danny Lopez was not the only one who felt the punches of Salvador Sanchez. On March 22, 1981, Roberto Castañón had the misfortune of stepping into the ring with the Mexican while he was at his best. Sanchez, at the time, had already accumulated a record of 37 victories, with 28 of them by knockout, 1 defeat, and 1 draw. Meanwhile, Roberto had 42 victories in his record, with only 23 of them by knockout and 1 defeat. Anyone would say that Castañón's experience would count for something when he stepped into the ring with Sanchez, but Salvador's knockout record told us something. Roberto had to be careful not to receive the right punch at the right time. From the start of the first round, the fight was close. Although both fighters were cautious, it was only a study to devise strategies, as many boxers do before unleashing all their tricks.
Had that great fight against Bazooka Lamone to win the super featherweight crown, Juan Sanchez.
The real fight began from the second round, where powerful punches were thrown and exchanged.
Saw the wild missed left.
Both the Spaniard and the Mexican had to keep their guards up if they didn't want to be defeated early on. Both fighters fought to preserve their energy, but by the 8th round, it was evident that Castañón was struggling to stay on his feet. Whenever he had the chance, he went for Salvador's body to buy some time while the referee separated them.
Fight is being brought to you live.
Before starting the 10th round, the great Larry Holmes, who would later be remembered for being destroyed by Mike Tyson, gave his opinion on the fight up to that point. But what no one could foresee was that the perception of the judges or boxing experts wouldn't matter. Sanchez was about to end it. Opening the 10th round, Castañón fell to the ground after a hook from Salvador. After the referee made sure of his condition, the fight resumed. But it wouldn't last much longer before the referee intervened again and gave Salvador the victory.
Boxing faces must keep his hip, but now he's ready to put him away. That's it. Davey Pearl did the right thing.
And we couldn't close our top incredible fights you won't believe without mentioning the encounter between Salvador Sanchez and Wilfredo Gomez. It took place on August 21st, 1981, and the fight was expected to last 15 rounds. Once again, the Mexican was the favorite among the audience. Physically, both fighters had many similarities. But it would be Sanchez's skills that would help him rise above his rival, as he had done before. From the start of the fight, caution was not lacking. But the Mexican took the first opportunity he saw to land a combination of punches on Wilfredo that would leave him sitting on the canvas.
Wilfredo Gómez, que pronosticó una victoria por nocaut en el octavo episodio. Ahí entró fuerte la derecha y a la gana Wilfredo Gómez.
After the protective count, it was decided that Gomez was ready to return to the fight. However, this event would only serve as a harbinger of what was about to happen. From that moment on, Salvador's aggressiveness only increased. It was evident that he was trying to finish the fight quickly. Wilfredo went from one corner to another, trying to escape Salvador's powerful combinations, but Salvador pursued him like a predator after its prey. Wilfredo could only do one thing: hold on until Salvador exhausted all his energy and then try to defeat him. But anyone who knew Sanchez knew that he would reach the 15th round with the same power he had in the first round. By the end of the 4th round, Wilfredo's face was unrecognizable. Salvador was ensuring to damage him as much as possible until he delivered the blow that would end the fight. The fight, which they thought would end in the first round, reached the 7th. And neither of the fighters seemed to have any intention of giving up. But it was evident that Salvador had better conditions to continue. It wasn't until the 8th round that Wilfredo found himself against the ropes, as he had retreated to escape Salvador's punches, and he found his fateful destiny.
Y cuando suelta las manos, Salvador domina la escena y pone en las primeras condiciones.
With a non-existent guard, he received such a brutal combination of punches that his only reaction was to involuntarily fall to the canvas. Salvador did it once again.
Que Wilfredo con la suya, y ahí le van a tener que parar la pelea y el referee interviene.
Despite Mike Tyson being one of the great figures in boxing, there are other great warriors who ensured their place in sports history with their fists. Did you know about some of the fights we described in the video? Which one is your favorite? We look forward to reading your comments.